And now, City Manager David Knapp.
Good evening. Thank you for being here tonight. The difference between a community and a bunch of buildings is the extent to which people who live in those buildings take responsibility for each other. Cupertino is such a wonderful community precisely because the people we are honoring tonight and thousands of others take responsibility for each other. Marian Wright Edelman said that service to others is the price you pay for living on the planet. But I think as you'll hear from the people tonight, it's much more than that, because it turns out that in serving your neighbors, you get much more back than you spend. I noticed that 4 of those people that we're honoring tonight are associated with the Block Leader Program. And this is a program which encourages neighbors to know each other and to work together on issues of common interest. For example, in emergency, your first responder lives right next door. And by the way, you are your neighbor's first responder. So if you haven't heard about the Block Leader Program, or you don't know who your block leader is, or you don't have a block leader, just see me or Laura Lee, who is here tonight, and we'll buy you dinner on June 11th, right here in this building. And now it's my honor to introduce the community's #1 volunteer, our Honorable Mayor, Dolly Sandoval.
It's really my pleasure tonight to give you the opening comments to our CREST Awards. We're blessed in this community. We have a tripod of different people in our community. We have people who volunteer their time and energy on a daily, a weekly, or a monthly basis. We have people in need who need us to volunteer and help them out, guide them, mentor them. And we have people who also help support financially our efforts to help guide and mentor. Tonight, it's our pleasure, mine and the City Council's, to honor 10 people who have stood out amongst thousands of volunteers, of leaders in our community. Cupertino recognizes Extra Steps Taken is our annual tribute to you, the residents in our city, who help make our city a true community. This evening, our first honorees are Gail and Howard Jensen. We're going to see a short video clip, so please take note of the screens.
Co-presidents Laura Lee Sorensen and Gail Jensen.
After 43 years of living, working, and volunteering in Cupertino, Gail and Howard Jensen need a spreadsheet to record their amazing list of activities. The Jensen's partnership extends not only to marriage and volunteerism, but also to their careers. As educators, Howard in the San Jose Unified School District, Gail in the Fremont Union High School District, they are natural givers. Even in their retirement, they serve as student teaching supervisors for National University. The Cupertino Host Lions Club has had the benefit of their service for over 40 years, with the Jensens happily involved in such events as the annual Fish-a-thon benefiting local blind and disabled individuals. Gail has been an active member of the Cupertino Quota Club for many years, and she and Howard have worked with both clubs to provide clothing for needy American Indians in Arizona. When Gail battled cancer and heart disease, the partnership grew even stronger, as the couple added 2 more agencies to their lengthy list of volunteer credits. They now help raise funds for both the American Heart Association and the American Cancer Society. Their love for humanity, for their community, and for each other is evident in the meaningful partnership they've created together.
Gail and Howard, would you please come to the stage? People will welcome you. Right there. Okay, beautiful. So I know Gail and Howard primarily as my neighbors, but they're out walking the block, making sure everybody's doing well. As you heard, they're involved with fish-a-thons, quota club, They're both retired educators, but what you don't know from the video is that they were both founders, truly, of Cupertino. They moved here to Cupertino before Cupertino was an established city. And they became pillars in our community and real, true role models of how an active, educated citizenry can have an impact in this community. And as educators, Gail taking on the today's leaders tomorrow, or tomorrow's leaders today, growing educational youth, helping them learn strategies and leadership skills to carry on in the community. Both have done just a wealth of amazing things, and I thank you, and so does the council. In recognition this evening, I have a lot of paper to give you. One, and every recipient will get this, is a proclamation from the County Board of Supervisors, signed by our supervisor, Liz Niss. Another, a certificate of special congressional recognition from our Congressman Mike Honda. Not to be outdone, the California State Senate and the California Assembly gave individual proclamations. And really not to be outdone, rather than giving them a paper proclamation, the City of Cupertino is honoring you with our CREST Award for 2008. I heard parking was kind of crazy out there. I tried to get here early so I didn't have that issue. I was a little worried with one of our recipients who I thought might bicycle around over this way. But since I noticed that David Greenstein and his wife Cindy and their daughter Chloe came, I figured they weren't all on their bicycles. But he did get here. So if we could please see the video for David Greenstein, our second recipient this evening.
David Greenstein is a guy who practices what he preaches. A strong advocate for alternative transportation, he believes in working toward a more walkable and bikeable community. Even before his daughter began kindergarten, David was leading a walking school bus of neighborhood children to Lincoln School every morning, saving car trips for their parents and doing his part to reduce traffic congestion while keeping kids safe on their journey to school. Presently serving as chairman of Cupertino's Parks and Recreation Commission, David first found an outlet for his convictions as a member of the city's Bicycle Pedestrian Commission. While there, he chaired the Stevens Creek Trail Task Force, presiding over numerous and often contentious meetings for 2.5 years, taking in more than 100 hours of public comment. He'll tell you the time was well spent, as the trail is now on its way to being built. David then brought his calm, logical, and persuasive manner to discussions surrounding the Mary Avenue footbridge, again working to achieve the best and most environmentally sustainable solution for the Cupertino community. Whether he's raising money for the library, campaigning for Monte Vista annexation, or rallying his neighbors as a block leader, it's all about quality of life for David. And when he talks about protecting natural resources and opening pathways for walking and biking, there's plenty of action and a ton of time behind his words.
How many of you seen David on the bicycle around town? Oh, good. I don't know if you can see each other, but that was quite a few hands up there. David is always pedaling around town, and when he's not pedaling, he is taking extra steps, which is why this award for him is so aptly named, I think, Cupertino Recognizing Extra Steps Taken. David started a walking bus program for his daughter, Chloe. Before she was in school, though. He helped walk the neighbors, and he still is walking neighbors to school rather than having their parents drive them, getting kids the idea that walking is good, that reducing school traffic is good, and that's just a great community event that he started himself. David has been involved, as you saw from the video, from all kinds of bicycle and pedestrian-oriented activities. But David is a great philanthropic leader, both in energy, time, and commitment, as well as donations. So David, come on up. Stay right there. And as Chloe, his young daughter, knows, it's not just David doing the hard work in their family. It's his wife, Cindy, and his daughter. And that's what makes Cupertino so great, is it's not just one individual in one household every so often that's doing something good for our community. It really is a family effort. I'm a little surprised you didn't bring the dog, though. So, Chloe, maybe I can give you some of these to help your dad out. Would that be okay? So here's 4 different proclamations. Got those? Great. And David, here's your glass CREST Award. Having never hosted these awards, you always kind of forget something the first time around, so we'll come back to the Jensens in a moment, I think. But you do have the opportunity to take the mic if you want. I really will step away. So good, come on down.
Mayor Sandoval, thank you so much, and I'm so honored to be here. There are so many people that have been involved in the community with me over the years. I have to mention a couple of them in the bicycle arena, bike ped arena. Ann Ing, Richard Lowenthal, one of our former mayors, Don Burnett and Joe Walton have worked extensively, and I'm so proud to have and honored to have worked with them. On the Stevens Creek Trail, Jeannie Bradford and Richard Lowenthal again. On the neighborhood, I worked on speed control with Rose Serio, and block leadership with Tom Dyer and George Adzich. And finally at Lincoln Elementary, worked with Principal Lynn Shimada, Allison Sakas, and Alex Levy. And these are the people who, they're all heroes. So I really feel honored to represent all of those people because they all contribute to your community. And thank you so much.
All right. So the Jensens said that they would pass on saying anything this evening since I kind of messed up there. Thank you for doing that. But I do want to just recognize your family because you have some close family friends as well as your daughter here, Gail. Can you stand up and kind of point them out for us?
First of all, I'd like to thank all the Cupertarians and Casey and I for support us, especially Donna Osborne and Barbara Eunice, who wrote our nomination. Barbara serves in many capacities, but she's also serves as our best friend to our whole family. And I would like you to meet my family. My other daughter, Laura, cannot be here tonight, but I'd like my son-in-law, Rob, my daughter, Susan, and my 2 wonderful granddaughters, Justine and Jensen, to stand. In this life, you only get to go around once. We feel we've been blessed. We've been in Cupertino since 1954. Our parents were founders of the PTA at Cupertino High School and worked in the first parade that Cupertino ever had. And also, we had the pleasure, both of us, of working for Sam Lawson in the beginnings of the Parks and Rec program. It's not that we're just old, it's just that we've had a lot of wonderful experiences in the city of Cupertino, and we'd like to thank you all.
I think it's evident, Gail, that age is just in your mind, and what you are is really active and committed, so we thank you. I'd like to ask the Vice Mayor Orrin Mahoney to come up for the next 2 presentations. Thank you.
Well, good evening and welcome. It's my pleasure to introduce our next recipient of the CREST Awards, and that's Amanda Cuva. And if we could go with the roll in there, that would be great.
If it's true that busy hands are happy hands, then Amanda Cuva must have the gladdest hands in town because her fingers are always flying. Among hundreds of volunteers at the Cupertino Senior Center, she stands out with those hands constantly in motion, whether she's fixing meals in the kitchen, distributing bingo cards, or knitting for those in need. As chair of the center's needlecraft group, she solicits yarn donations and works with other volunteers making baby blankets for teen mothers, lap quilts for seniors and veterans, and caps for cancer patients. True to form, Amanda began leading the needlecrafters when the former chair became too frail for the job. Under her direction, the little group grew and found new recipients for their handmade gifts. Amanda consistently steps in wherever there is a need. She's devoted 18 years of service to the Senior Center. Last year alone, she logged 420 hours of volunteer time. A member of the center's advisory council, she's active in planning special events and heads both the kitchen crew and the bingo program. She openly shares her love for cooking with those around her, warmly welcoming helpers from many different countries. And when kitchen chores are done, she's off to set up for Penny Bingo, an important social activity for many seniors and one that Amanda began leading when the need arose for a chairman. Stirring kitchen pots or figuring out bingo pots, whatever the job is, you can bet Amanda has it, well, in hand.
Okay, if Amanda could come up and join me on the stage. So, first of all, you clearly started volunteering before you're qualified to be a senior. I could tell that right away. But so, while I clearly qualify to be in the senior center, I haven't been able to avail myself of those services because I'm too busy doing other things. But it's clear, just like with almost anything in the community here, it's not only the staff and the city functions that do that. It really, all the things that we do in the city can only be done with the help of volunteers, and especially in the senior center. I've heard so much about the work that the volunteers there do. And the council to drive things and move the programs forward. It's really great. So we really appreciate that. Let me present and then have the comment. Yes, let me present the awards first. These are the paper ones. And this is the more fun one that you can display. And then I'd like to invite you up here to say a few words.
I just want to thank my friends and my family. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for all you do. The thanks all go to you. Thank you. Our next recipient is Frances Oda and the Aloha Nani Hula dancers. And if we could start the roll in there, that would be great.
Nobody is ever too old to spread a little joy, and the Aloha Nani Hula dance group spreads that message with swaying hips, graceful hand movements, and intricate footwork. Members of the dance group are from 50 to 80 years young. They perform at community events such as the Cherry Blossom Festival, at convalescent hospitals, retirement homes, senior centers, churches, and recreation facilities. Last year, under the direction of their intrepid director, Frances Oda, the dancers entertained on 35 occasions for a combined 1,400 hours of volunteer time, not counting practice hours. Frances is the motivating force behind Aloha Nani. She choreographs the dances, demonstrates the movements, organizes all the bookings, and prepares instructional tapes for the classes she teaches at the Cupertino Senior Center. She also oversees the making of the group's hula costumes, the trademark muumuus. The troupe sings and dances free of charge, their music and exuberance capturing their audiences and transcending illness and loneliness. A native Hawaiian, Frances sets a joyful tone for the hula classes that generate the dance group. Patient and encouraging, she works with seniors of varying ages and physical abilities. She infuses every practice and performance with the spirit of aloha. Though their backgrounds are diverse, the Aloha Nani Hula dancers are united in their friendship for each other and in their mission to spread the joy of Aloha Nani, beautiful love.
So you're all coming up? You can all come up. Come on up. No? Who are you? Hi, kids. I might make you do a dance for us. We'll see.
They'd love to.
I don't know if we have any music. We'll try that in a minute. So when I got the list of CREST Awards recipients this year, I immediately said there's one I've got to give out, and that's because Betty Sackler here, raise your hand, Betty, is the grandmother of Carolyn and my daughters. So I've known about the dancers for a long time and been following them at various festivals and other events as an interested observer, and they do a great job. So Francis, I thank you for all your work and over the years with them, and really appreciate it. And again, it's just another great service that's done through the Senior Center, along with our previous recipient, and just a great effort to Cupertino. And I know, in fact, Betty doesn't live in Cupertino, but Cupertino Senior Center is the place to come. So that's great, and we love it, and you do a great job. So here's something for your
Thank you.
desk and everything, and if you'd like to say a few words, that would be great.
This wonderful ohana, that's family in Hawaiian, started way back in 1997. And my girls, I still have the girls with me that started with me in 1997. Lily, Bernice, Shirley, let's see. I guess that's it, huh? We all started at Santa Clara Senior Center. Then we moved over to Cupertino, and I have Avelina, Yuri, Shizue, Lillian. She's my wonderful MC at all of our performances. Of course, that's Bernice, Shirley, Betty, Kim, Rosa, Jennifer, and Yuko, all the way from Japan. These girls work very hard in class, and we go out to perform at the convalescent hospitals, and it's very, very nice and heartwarming to see these girls go out, shake the hands of these patients, and it's just such a warm feeling that they enjoy what they're doing, and I enjoy what I'm doing, and we always end with Hawaii Aloha and Aloha Oi. Whenever we go out, we sing, and the patients, the retirement centers, they all appreciate the music that comes from Hawaii. It's a warm feeling, and I'm really very, very proud of the girls, and thank you for the award.
So can you do something for us before you leave?
They'd like us to dance. Without music? Without music? What can we do?
Rolling. I don't know what we can do.
So what shall we dance? Hukila? Let's go to Hukila. Hukila girls. Okay. Oh, we're going to a Hukila. A hooky, 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 hooky-low. Everybody loves the hooky-low. Where the lau-lau is, the cow-cow at the hooky-low. We throw our nets out into the sea, and all the ama-ama come swimming to me. Oh, we're going to a hooky lao. Hooky, 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 hooky lao.
All right. Here you go.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Didn't know you were getting entertainment tonight, too. All right. That was great. Okay, I'd like to bring to the stage now our former mayor, Chris Wang, to do the next presentations. Chris?
Good evening, everyone. This is actually I can't think of anything else than this is the happiest event that as a council we can do, and I enjoy so much every year. That just reminds us that we are all living in such a wonderful community. We're surrounded by so many volunteers who give their time, their efforts just to help the community to be better and better for our generation and also future generation. Look at all the kids that are sitting up front, and we're expecting you to be the volunteer in the future. And tonight, I get the pleasure to present CREST Award for two couples. Well, they're couples, but doesn't mean they only do one set of work. They actually both working as volunteers, so we can count it as not double, but triple. Let's look at the first set couples, Vivian and Michael Hurley. Let's watch the tape.
On the calendar, Thanksgiving comes in November, but for Michael and Vivian Hurley, the holiday happens all year round. For 32 years, this caring couple has spent the months preceding Thanksgiving in gathering up items to fill food baskets for the area's needy families. Their efforts are key to the success of the annual Thanksgiving Basket Outreach Program, sponsored by St. Joseph of Cupertino Church in conjunction with West Valley Community Services. The Hurleys begin by organizing food drives at St. Joseph's Parish and School. They maintain inventory, publicize the drive, and direct the collection of apple boxes from local grocery stores. These serve as the food basket containers. Last year, the food drive generated enough for more than 200 baskets, each one consisting of 2-box halves loaded with at least a 12-pound turkey, fresh produce, stuffing, mashed potatoes, yams, pumpkin, canned vegetables, cereal, and more. Everything needed for a complete Thanksgiving dinner and a few meals afterwards, too. Countless hours go into this endeavor, but these two longtime Cupertino residents always find time to oversee every aspect of it, from coordinating with local vendors and purchasing perishable items, to scheduling the cadre of volunteers needed to assemble the baskets and deliver them in time for Thanksgiving. Lots of families enjoy holiday traditions. For Michael and Vivian Hurley, the tradition of community service began more than 3 decades ago, and it's still going strong.
So now let's invite Vivian and Michael to come on the stage. As we said earlier, volunteers not just do once or a few times, but consistently for more than 30 years. That's really a big extra step that you have taken. We're honored to have you folks here and helping the community. So either one of you wanted to come up here, give us more detail about, I know, I feel guilty because I've never done that, but I wanted to hear more about it so I can follow your footsteps. I know it's not easy that consistently do it 30 years. You must have built the patterns for other people to follow. Maybe you want to share a little bit about that.
Well, thank you.
Sure.
I don't know about sharing a little bit of that, but what I want to do is to thank you for the special recognition and to share that with St. Joseph's Parish. We've been working with the baskets for 30 years, but St. Joseph's has been supporting them for 30 years. This Thanksgiving baskets are a parish event. We organize it, but the parishioners come together and they make it happen. So I want to thank you for this award. We work a lot with just getting everything that is needed, but it's the parish that is important. So we want to thank St. Joseph's for their commitment to this outreach program. And I want to just thank you for this award.
I just want to reiterate what Vivian has said, that the tremendous support of the program from St. Joseph's, of the generous donation of food, money, and the whole bunch of volunteers that come the weekend before Thanksgiving to prepare the baskets. You know, as it was said, each family gets 2 boxes of food, and that's a lot of food. Also want to recognize the merchants of Cupertino who have assisted us each year in obtaining the turkeys, the produce, the baked goods, and perishable goods. Also, although this award, both Vivian and I are named on the board, Vivian has been the real driver who has taken this program from where it was 30 years ago. 30 years ago, there was a couple, we helped a couple of families in the St. Joseph Parish. She's driven it to the point now that we helped over 200 families throughout the Cupertino West Valley area. And we would like to express our thanks to the City Council and to the City of Cupertino for this award. Thank you.
So now I'd like to, on behalf of our county, state, and federal representative for Cupertino to present their proclamation to you. But there's 4 of them, I believe. There we go. 4 of them. And most importantly, this is from Cupertino.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
So as much as Vivian and Michael have been volunteer, there are another couple. They're Donna and Schaack. They're also doing a lot of volunteer work as a couple. So let's watch the tape first.
Jack and Donna Van Schaack may belong to the Friends of the Cupertino Library Group, but they'd be better described as boon companions of the library. This dedicated couple has been members of the Friends for as long as they've lived in Cupertino, more than 30 years. During that time, they've done everything from serving homemade cookies at monthly meetings to redesigning office areas. Donna has volunteered every week at the library for more than 20 years. She sorts materials on book trucks so the library staff can get them quickly back on the shelves, a useful task considering more than 2.5 million items were checked out of the library last year. The membership chairman of the Friends for 2 decades, Donna also served as hospitality chair for 10 years, until Jack took over that job. A vital participant in the group's fundraising book sales, Jack helped set up the events and has hatched several ideas for saving workers time and energy throughout the years. He freely shares his organizational skills and willingly takes on any project that benefits the smooth operation of the library. Both Jack and Donna prefer to work behind the scenes, doing what needs to be done in a selfless and unassuming way. Their desire to help is deeply ingrained, and the library staff sees their volunteer work as a special gift to the community. Without a doubt, the Van Schaacks share a special bond with the Cupertino Library, and when you total all the hours this couple has devoted in service to that facility, it's very clear that they are friends indeed.
Coming up, Donna and Jack. So I know we have a lot of friends of libraries here. The members here, you want to raise your hand? I know quite a few of you here. I wish we can recognize every single one of you. I know the library really, use a lot of your help, and we can't recognize everyone, but I know Donna and Jack, you have done a lot. I mean, 20-some years Donna, you have worked in the library, and maybe you want to tell us a little bit about what Dewey Decimal Classification, and try to get that in right. And Jack, I know also you help a lot, and that's not just easy work. Some taxes you had to use your organizational or practical skills and to really make it as working for the library. Last night, council was reviewing the budget, and with a tight budget, still unanimously we approved the other year of a Monday supporting open 7 days a week. But that's not enough. That's just not enough. That's just only to get hours. We need a lot of volunteers to help in the library. And our library is probably the most busy libraries in the county system still. So I can't catch up the numbers. I know every day they update with new numbers, high rack numbers and visitors, and so library users keep going high. So that's just our pride, and also the volunteers like you folks are doing all the work for us. And thank you so much. So here's the proclamation from state and county and federal, to recognize, and of course the CREST Award. Thank you. That's just a little bit token, but thank you so much. Either one of you wanted to say a few words, or?
Well, I just want to thank everybody that's here that makes this such a wonderful place to live and volunteer. You should all try the volunteer part. That's the most fun. Thank you again very much, all of you.
All right, I know we still have quite a few recipients, so now I'm going to ask my colleague Gilbert Wong to come up to take this.
Thank you very much. It's my honor to be here tonight. Actually, I was here 3 years ago being an honoree, so I know the 10 folks who receive it tonight must be a little bit nervous but excited because you have all of your friends and family here. Tonight, I'm very proud to present two very special people, one who's very young and enthusiastic, and one who has been working very hard in the community. The first one is Krishi Pedadda, and can we roll the tape, please?
More than 300 Cupertino residents are better prepared for an emergency today thanks to the efforts of one very motivated high school student. It wasn't enough for Monte Vista High School senior Krishi Pedadda to form a club called High Schoolers for a Better Community. He wanted to invest some sweat equity in the group with real service projects. When the city's Office of Emergency Service suggested the club pass out flyers to promote personal preparedness workshops, it still wasn't enough. He rounded up his 20 club members and they attended the 3-hour workshop themselves so they could answer basic questions about the training. The first weekend, they passed out 200 flyers in 2 hours and were back on the streets for successive weekends. Attendance in the workshops increased 20%. Yet it still wasn't enough for Krishi. His interest and commitment to emergency preparedness led him to develop and coordinate personal preparedness mini-trainings for neighborhood block parties. Soon, the student-led presentations were so successful, block leaders started calling to schedule the group. Under Krishi's guidance, the club also volunteers with trail maintenance on weekends, pruning trees, leveling, and clearing local pathways. Besides his phenomenal leadership and organizational skills, Krishi excels at time management. How else can he juggle homework, college applications, violin lessons, other school activities, and his commitment to making the community a better place to live?
At this moment, I'd like to ask Krishi to come up, please. As I was walking in tonight, I ran into a lot of city staff as well as community folks and asked me who I'm presenting tonight, and one of them was Krishi. I ran into Laura Lee as well as Marcia Hoffett, both city employees, and Laura Lee said that you were very exceptional. As he started, he wanted to volunteer something, and as a young person, it's nice that he was proactive and he approached the city and he called Marcia and said that, what can I do for the city? And that is the proactivism that we want to see within our young folks. Also, as you know, he's also a high school student at Monte Vista High School, and he also started an organization called the High School for a Better Community. Right now, he is a senior, and he has left the organization, that what I heard from Worley, to a very good person, which is your brother, who's going to be the incoming president. So he's already preparing for the next generation. With that, as my fellow council members said, that we have both county, state, and federal proclamations. Thank you. And the most important is the Cupertino CREST Award.
Well, thank you, Councilmember Wong and the rest of the mayor and the city council for presenting me with this award tonight. It really is a great joy and pleasure to accept this award on behalf of all the members of High Schoolers for a Better Community, or HSFBC. And it really is quite amazing to see how far we've come in 2 years. I know they did a great job with that video, kind of showing how that happened. I think this award really recognizes the passion, the dedication, the teamwork, leadership, and hard work of all of the members of HSFBC. You've done such a phenomenal job. And we owe our successes tonight to several people who I really want to take the time to thank. First of all, thank you to Marcia Hovey and Ken Erickson. Thank you so much for providing us with such a wonderful opportunity to serve our own residents and to prepare our own communities. Thank you, Tom Dyer, for inspiring us from the very beginning and showing us that high school students can really make a difference. And thank you to Mr. Ebbing, our wonderful advisor, for believing in us and guiding us. And thank you to Mr. Hambleton, another teacher of mine who now works in the administration, for making disaster preparedness such a vital part of Monte Vista High School as we try to strive to introduce disaster preparedness into the curriculum and such. And I'd like to thank you again for presenting me with this award, and I'd like to wish Kranti, Shaurya, Schaack, Tarun, and the rest of the new HSFBC officer team the best of luck in moving this club forward. Thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Krishi Pedadda. The next recipient is Kay Roberts. Can we roll the slide, please?
Hello, Support Network.
The voices on the other end of the telephone line may be young or old. They may be heavily accented or carry no trace of another language. The voices may be barely audible. They may be ear-splitting, but they are always desperate and always in need of someone to listen. For nearly 30 years, that someone has been Kay Roberts. A volunteer crisis counselor for the Support Network for Battered Women, this Cupertino resident is no stranger to the sad and traumatic stories of abused women. She absorbs them all with compassion and calm, listening, encouraging, and in the end, hopefully guiding her callers toward a path of safety and security. A former teacher, Kay says the calls she fields can last a few minutes or go on for an hour. She agonizes over those whose fear causes them to hang up before she can help them, and she rejoices with those who overcome their terrors and move on to better lives. Kay's volunteer efforts have touched many of the area's women in need. For several years, she helped out at the Career Closet, assisting those going on job interviews to find appropriate clothing among racks of donated apparel. She also volunteers as a yoga instructor, a special interest of hers for the past 25 years, and is a member of the Quota Club of Cupertino, a service organization for professional women. In 1996, Kay carried the Olympic torch. Today, her torch burns brightly for those whose lives have been shattered, lives she is dedicated to mending.
Kay Roberts. No problem. It's my honor to present to Kay Roberts this award. As you know, Kay Roberts has been really active in the Quota Club, and I see that a lot of her friends from the Quota Club is here tonight to support her. By not only being active in the Quota Club, but as the tape world, both the old and the young, but I think that she's very young and very active. I'm really excited that one of her passions is regarding battered women. This is something that is very sensitive, and as you can tell in the tape, that she is a very good listener and wanted to help the folks who are a little bit less unfortunate. We're really happy tonight to also have her daughter, Anne, to be with her tonight for this very special occasion. And again, there's 4 proclamations from the county, federal, and state. I want to present. And the most important is, of course, the Covenant CREST Award.
I feel like an Academy Award winner. I know I'll forget somebody. I have left my husband in bed with a root canal. He's so sorry not to be here tonight. We both planned to do this together. And I do have a daughter in New York, and I have a daughter in Massachusetts, and I know they're with me in spirit. I want to thank the Support Network for Battered Women staff members and friends for being here tonight. We started out such a small way, half of a duplex house and maybe 5 volunteers and maybe 3 staff members, and now we are, and I may get the numbers wrong, I'm sorry if I do, but I think about 21 staff members and somewhere around 700 volunteers. So we've grown. And I'd like to thank my yoga members. They're here today and tonight, and I'm just so glad they're here. I've taught yoga both on the East Coast and the West Coast, and from ages starting at 5 to 85. And I do this with love. I never charge. It's just with love. And I would like to thank my quota friends who are here tonight. Lovely to see you. And my neighborhood friends. And I'm so glad that my church friends are here too. It's a lot of love right now. I'd especially like to thank Carol and Frank Bonzel, the reason I'm here tonight. Thank you, Carol.
Kay Roberts. It is now my pleasure to introduce our newest council member, Councilmember Mark Central.
Thank you all for coming. Last night our council spent the evening looking over the city budget, as most of you know, and this is way more fun. So I have the honor of giving out 2 awards this evening. The first is to Chuck Worley. Can we please roll the tape?
Hello. In Cupertino, when opportunity knocks, it's probably Chuck Worley rapping his knuckles on your front door. For more than 5 years, Chuck has been introducing himself to his neighbors, giving everyone the opportunity to meet one another, to work toward common goals, and most importantly, to keep each other safe. Chuck is one of the city's most enthusiastic and successful block leaders, a volunteer who connects neighbors to each other and to the city through programs like Neighborhood Watch and Emergency Preparedness. He began knocking on the doors of the 12 homes on his own street, Flintshire Drive. Soon he was expanding his territory, approaching residents on surrounding streets. Today he is head leader of about 60 homes, covering 6 city streets. Wonderfully organized and deeply passionate, this neighborhood leader has coordinated block parties and neighborhood watch meetings, recruited and mentored new block leaders, assisted in training sessions, and spearheaded neighborhood beautification projects. And he still has time for a 20-hour CERT training course. A former engineer who spent 25 years in the semiconductor industry, Schaack enjoys the challenge of bringing people together for a common cause. In today's world, earning the trust of strangers and engaging them in community activities isn't always easy. But for Chuck Worley, a master of leading by example, sometimes it's as simple as a knock on the front door.
Chuck? Come on, I know you're not shy. You can. While Chuck's on his way up here, that was a wonderful tape. I had all these things I was going to say about the fact that I was at the CERT training this last year when Chuck graduated. And I was surprised to see him there because I'd seen him just before that at a block leader meeting. So since that's all covered in the 5 years he spent there, and he was going to make a bad joke about being an engineer, but I guess I'll go on with a few other things. Chuck has built a block leader empire in his 5 years. I think he's probably got his map in his back pocket because I've never seen him without it. And if anybody asks, he's got his block leader map there and ready to go. He's a very big driving force for the block leaders. If there's ever and I encourage all you to get involved with that, by the way, it's a wonderful program. Chuck can talk about it a lot better than me, but Chuck, I've seen, every time there's a block leader thing going on, he's there, he's encouraging people to join. He started out by knocking on a few neighbors' doors, and he was persistent. He's a great mentor for the new block leaders, explaining to them, don't give up, just be polite, keep showing them the list, keep knocking on the doors, and keep trying. And he's certainly done that. You can tell by the number of people that are involved in his group. I asked Laura Lee if she had one thing to say about Chuck, what would she say? And she said, well, Chuck is the epitome of what a block leader should be, and I wholly concur with that. So with that, I'd like to give you all the other good awards everyone's mentioned once before. By the way, I don't know if all of you know how impressive this is, but I've never seen for any group of people so many different awards from so many organizations. Normally, people hold up one and it's a big deal, so we're just giving them out as a pile, but they're very prestigious. And of course, we always show the nicest one last, so you know what it is. Come on. Let's say a few words. Okay.
If Laura Lee was here, I would chastise her. I thought I was going to come and get a little pin added to my neighborhood watch block leader picture or something. I didn't know it was this big. I had no idea. I certainly didn't prepare a speech. All I do was take over from my wife, who was the original block leader 25 years ago, when she and two other of the mothers on our street just organized and had a block party for all the neighborhood kids and the families on Flintshire Street. And when I retired back in '99, it was like, okay, she's working, I'll take over block leader. So I became the block leader, and I just started doing what she used to do. So I'm following in her footsteps. Mary Jo, stand up. She's the real winner here. Please stand up. Not only is she deserves more recognition than I do. Last week, I'm going to spill the beans here. Last week, she was honored down at the City of San Jose's Kelly Park, the historical park, where the one-room schoolhouse has a board or a plaque or something where they honor teachers, and she got her name on a brass plaque last week, and I was there for her recognition for being a teacher for 20 years, and also the past president of the Santa Clara Reading Council. So she's the one that deserves the recognition. And also my stepson, her son, more so, is in the Army. He's just got his wings. He's a Black Hawk pilot, and he's in training, and shortly he's going to go over and serve his time for this country. He deserves it far more than I do. The guys in the military deserve it far more than I do. And then we have one more. The future leaders. Sean, stand up. My stepson, Sean, Mary Jo's son, Sean Sullivan, he is a teacher like his mother, He's a teacher right here at St. Joe's Cupertino. He teaches 6th and 7th grade, social studies, religion. So he's going to be the future leader of Cupertino. Those are the ones we need to honor. That's all I had to say. Thank you for this award.
Okay, we now have to our last winner, Stuart Chessen. Tape, please.
Stuart Chessen believes in taking care of people. That much is evident in the volunteer work he has done within the city since 1998. Many of the hundreds of hours he has given to the community have been spent improving Cupertino's emergency response programs. As a neighborhood block leader, he builds a sense of community while sharing emergency preparedness information with those around him. As a member of CARES, Cupertino Amateur Radio Emergency Services, Stuart works to facilitate the flow of two-way communications between the city and the club. He's a member of the Sheriff's Office Volunteer Search Team, and he willingly takes responsibility for ham radio operations at citywide special events. During the 4th of July fireworks program, he managed and assigned 50 volunteers from 5 cities at 4 different venues throughout Cupertino. Last year, Stuart also served as the incident commander for a 3-hour emergency exercise for CERT, Cupertino Emergency Response Team. His efforts included volunteer staffing of the event, logistics, staging, and promotion. A natural leader, Stuart is active in Cupertino's Citizen Corps and continues his tireless support of local schools, even though his 3 daughters are now grown. Stricken with cancer 4 years ago, he never faltered in his work for others. Today, he also donates time to the Cupertino American Cancer Society's Relay for Life and the Lance Armstrong Bicycle Relay.
I'm going to make you stand here while I talk. You know, I find it very interesting that all the people here tonight that we're honoring all get up there and tell you what all the other people have done. I think that's important, and we should all take note of that. When I first met Stuart, who has some other very active members of his family, his wife works with the city, and his mother-in-law is very involved and writes on the local paper, and they're much more outspoken than Stuart, who you hardly get a word out of edgewise. They said, Stuart's really impressive. Just wait till you get to know Stuart. And over time, it's like I first learned from Stuart what an ark was. I just thought it was a big boat. But for those of you who don't know, we have arks throughout the city which store equipment and supplies in case of emergencies. And Stuart is the person responsible for his local ark. I said, well, that's pretty impressive. I later learned that he's been CERT trained. And so I said, good, if I ever get injured, he's the guy to see. He's a ham radio operator. He's, when there's any type of emergency or something, he's one of the people that pass information around in case things get broken. Then I learned he's been doing all of this while he was fighting cancer. I'm happy to say he's healthy and doing well today. Just a very impressive guy in all respects. And every time I go to some event in the city, Stuart's there. And he's kind of behind the scenes. He's not saying anything. He's not out in front, but he's making sure things are going well and everybody's okay and stuff like that. I think with regards to the city, Marcia Hovey said it best. He said, Stuart believes in this city. So thank you very much for... There's all the awards. And of course, the snazzy one, which I haven't figured out how to pick up without putting my fingerprints on. Can we get you to say a few words? Great, thank you.
Well, thank you, Mark, and thank you, City Council, for this award. I guess it must rub off because my dad, who's here, and my mom were very active in supporting the community. So hopefully it passes on to my kids as well, that they'll help. And I think they've been leading that way, being leaders and getting other people involved and volunteering in all sorts of activities. And I want to thank my wife. Debbie's been active in almost half the things I do, at least, if not more, and steering me right, or at least holding down the home fort when I'm off volunteering. I also want to thank Marcia Hovey, who's given us such resources for the Office of Emergency Services with CARES, the amateur radio, and the CERT, the emergency response team, and the Medical Reserve Corps. They've really helped us coordinate, like with 4th of July, working with the city, so to make sure that's a real safe event. Also, the block leader, Laura Lee, helping us, making sure we got to know our neighbors so that you can learn the special interests and skills that people have that are just living right next door to you. And in an emergency, they would be there. And also, because I remember in the '89 quake, you just stood out there and didn't know what to do, and you started putting things together as neighbors, and hopefully we never have to do that again. But if we have to, we'll be there. And then also, I want to thank the Turner and the Bands, that committee and the volunteers and friends and family of the students. We bring in 25 different high schools in to compete and help raise funds for music's programs. So it's a real beneficial program. So I want to thank everyone. It just takes a whole group of support people to get things accomplished, and I appreciate everybody who's helped.
So I was over at City Hall just before 5, and Laura Lee had sent an email to Stuart to ask him to do yet another task, and he said, I'd get right on it, but I kind of get ready for tonight. Can I do it first thing in the morning? So that's how busy the guy is. Anyway, I'd like to thank you all for coming. I would especially like to thank our recipients. A small group of people makes such a huge difference in our community, and this is just an outstanding and wonderful small group of people, and I'd like to thank you all for such a wonderful job that you've done. Now for some closing remarks, I'd like to return you to our Mayor, Dolly Sandoval.
How many of you had never heard of the Block Leader Program before this evening? Raise your hands. Okay, Laura Lee, do you have those pieces of paper to hand out to them? Well, all of you thought we were really just honoring CREST honorees. We really got you in here to maybe become a block leader. It is really a fabulous program. I fell in love with the program when I got elected to the council back in 2001. And truly, if you would like to be active on a very local level on your city block, please contact one of us about growing this program. We can always use more support right there in our neighborhoods. We all know and recognize that JFK quote that said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country." And what we've seen here this evening is not what people are doing just for their country, but again, on a very localized level, what they can do for the city of Cupertino, their residents, our neighbors. The City Council honors you and appreciates you. We have an active, engaged, educated citizenry that we should appreciate. We have a group of dedicated volunteers. We have an awesome staff that helps carry off this event and almost any other thing that goes on in our community. And for that, I know you'll join me in thanking our communication staff this evening. As mentioned, throughout all the work of the recipients, we have an excellent group of nonprofit agencies that help make Cupertinians' lives better and those in our surrounding neighborhoods. Thank you if you were on the application side pushing some paperwork to honor someone this evening. Thank you if you were an honoree. Thank you if you're just part of the support team that helps people in our community volunteer for the help of others. It truly is what makes Cupertino great. Mahalo. We will see you again next year.